Greetings and good day. This is Christopher Freese here at Freese Forge. I'm glad you stopped scrolling and clicked on this video because we've got 5 tips in 5 minutes to get you better at scrolls as a blacksmith. Let's do that. Tip number 1. Hit it on the side to open it up. So you're forging along and all of a sudden you realize your scroll is a little smaller than what you wanted it to be. You have a few different options available to you. The first option would be that you could open it all the way back up and re-scroll it, and while that's not necessarily a bad idea, it doesn't have to be your first option. A few different things that you could do, including going to the horn. One really easy way to open your scroll up just a little bit is to turn it on its side, give it a few whacks with a wooden mallet. Your hammer will do, but the wooden mallet won't actually forge the metal. It'll just cause it to open. The shock from it opens it. It really works quite well. Give that a try next time you've got a particularly fussy scroll. Well, that takes us right into tip number 2, and that's to use a wooden mallet. Wooden mallets are a godsend when it comes to scrolls. If you've got any kind of twists or anything else going on in that scroll, or maybe you're just at the finishing point and you don't want hammer marks all through this nice looking scroll that you're trying to create, lo and behold, a wooden mallet will get you there. I like to do most of my scrolls with a wooden mallet. It doesn't mar your work. It behaves very well. It's an all-around useful tool, and as we just discussed, it can also be used not only for closing of the scroll, but putting on the side and opening of the scroll as well. A very, very useful tool when you're working with scrolls. Tip number 3, use water. Water is very useful. Quenching the part of your scroll that you don't want to move can help you make all sorts of different kinds of scrolls. Very, very useful, very, very handy. When you cool the metal, it moves less, so the portion that you cool won't move nearly as much as the portion that's still hot. This is really advantageous if you have kind of an all-over heat, like you do in a propane forge. If you're using a coal forge, you can isolate your heat a little bit more accurately. But water is still a very, very useful resource. Coal, propane, whatever you're using, induction, I don't care. Quench that puppy, it won't move anymore, and then you can get that scroll just right. Tip number 4. As we mentioned earlier, don't be afraid to start over. That doesn't mean throw your piece out and start it all up again. That just means don't be afraid to open your scroll back up and go at it again. Chances are, if you're not liking where you're at, and all of your efforts to correct it haven't gone the way that you've hoped, that if you open it back up and retry again, maybe even a 3rd or 4th time, until you get it right. Remember, if you want it to be perfect, make it perfect. And it doesn't matter how many times or tries that it takes. It's the journey, not necessarily the destination. Although, if you keep trying, you are destined for a good scroll. Tip number 5. Practice. Practice, 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 practice. Scrolling is a skill that can be trained, mastered even. I haven't mastered it yet, but I sure have trained it a lot. A really good bit of training for making scrolls is to make as many as you possibly can. And I found that S-hooks are pretty much perfect practice, especially when you're beginning. Go ahead and make yourself 100 S-hooks. And yes, you heard me right, 100 S-hooks. S-hooks are phenomenal. Not only do you get to practice drawing out, tapering, going from square to octagon to round, very good skills, practice those diligently, but you also get to try some scrolls. You could do little scrolls at the end of your S hooks, or just the S itself. If you make an S, that's almost a scroll, half a scroll anyway. You make a little scroll on the end of the S, now you've got a scroll on your scroll. Yo man, I heard you like scrolls, so I put some scrolls on your scrolls. Alex Steele has done a great video on how if you want to be good at something, make 100 of it. And he's right, because it's practice, it's repetition. That's what builds the muscle memory, that's what develops skill, that's what's going to make you from creating this kind of sloppy, kinked up looking mess of a scroll to something that's very elegant, perfect. Well, there we are. 5 tips to get you better at making scrolls. I hope you like this video today. I hope you like this kind of format. I might be making some more along these lines. If you'd like to help support future projects, please do consider becoming a supporter on Patreon. Patreon's not your thing, and believe me, there's a lot of reason for it to not be your thing. Consider supporting us instead through PayPal. Child of Elon Musk, in fact. Pretty cool dude. Tesla's pretty neat. I'd like to get one of those trucks one day. Oh well, I digress. Thank you. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for your consideration. Subscribe, like, and we'll see you in the next video. May the Force serve you well.